you brought up football a few different times.
Right.
I got two different questions for you. One, quickly, I want to know was football your real passion, or was it the Marines? If you had it to do all over, if you could have been Barry Sanders or the man sitting here today, which one would you have done? And then I want to get into a story that I read on you that was, man, it brought tears to my eyes.
Oh, man, yeah.
So, was football your first passion?
Yes, actually, football was my first passion, been my love. Like I said, I had scholarships out the Wazoo that wanted me, but I wasn't disciplined enough to go to school, because I would have went to school, not went to class, just to play football, but I wasn't raised to be a failure, so I didn't want to fail. So I had to make sure that I took a course of action to make sure I didn't fail. So so I decided to join the military. And I said, okay, who wants the best? Who is the best? I heard the Marines the best, they the toughest, so that's where I'm going. We the few and the proud.
We Beehive, hold that magazine up for the people so they can see right there. Now I was reading this article right here on you. So let's fast forward out of the military. You're home now. You fighting for your disabilities and everything else that come along with you. Fighting for your respect, and you're not fighting for yourself, just for yourself. You're fighting for everybody that came before you and after you.
Correct.
Okay, we got that set up. The table is set. Now you go over to Atlanta Christian Academy. For those don't know who Atlanta Christian Academy is out there, it's what it says, a Christian Academy. But Dwight Howard went there.
Yeah.
You actually coach with
Javars Crittenton as well.
Yeah, who else?
Javars Crittenton.
Javars Crittenton. He's in jail, isn't he?
Yep. And I think CeeLo went there at some point.
Okay. Yep. So let's fast forward to that. Now, I read this story that okay, you're the football coach there. Mm-hmm. Y'all have how many kids that went out for the football team?
Seasons prior to, we was on the way to building the championship team. We had a team at that particular time, we probably had 30, 40 kids.
Okay.
Because it's private school, so we're going to be small anyway. And maybe even up to 60 at some point. But then it got to where funding became an issue. And, scholarships, some of the kids were there on a scholarship, on the Dwight Howard scholarship.
Okay.
So that funding got cut. Some other funding, some of the other funding that some of the kids that were there got cut.
Okay.
So we lost majority of our kids, who couldn't afford to go to the school anymore. And then I had two kids that were there, that was their senior year, and they said, Coach, what we gonna do? Because if we go to another school that's in our service area, we won't be eligible to play, because you still have to, according to Georgia high school regulations, you have things that you have to abide by, rules you have to abide by. You just can't come, you got a waiting period. So, they wouldn't have been able to have a senior season. And these kids wanted to go play football.
Okay.
So at that particular point, my brother, DeMarco Thompson, great brother. Mm-hmm. He was the head coach. I was assistant head coach and the running back coach at that time. Great guy. He said, Coach, I got to do some things. He was dealing with some personal things. So he was like, hey, if you want to rock it, I'll support you. I said, Coach, what we got left? He said, I got one football. And hell, that was flat.
So let me set the table for y'all out there. Let me give y'all a quick synopsis, then I'm gonna let you dive in.
Okay.
Y'all went through a season anyway, even though you didn't have the funding. Okay, how many kids did you have on that particular team?
13.
Yeah, 13 kids. Now it takes, if I'm not a rocket scientist, but doesn't it take 11 and 11 on each side?
Yep.
Okay, so you have 13 kids. That still didn't cancel the season. Now, out of the 13 kids, I read in there that 2 of them was special needs, or
yes, sir. Yep.
So really, you're playing with 11.
That's right.
Because you have 2 special needs kids. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you have enough uniforms for the team?
We had enough uniforms. We didn't have enough lineman jerseys, though.
So now take me through that. You don't have enough lineman jerseys. How did y'all get through games with that?
So the first game that we went to was Gordon Lee, which is up in Chickamauga, Georgia, and it was a roller coaster ride getting there first. So we get there, and we get putting my guys out there on the field. So I'm looking at the linemen. So you got to have 5 lineman numbers on the field. When you roll in offense, right? Mm-hmm. So we didn't. So I asked the managers, "Hey, dump all the jerseys out. Let me see what you got." All our numbers were mainly skill position numbers. Mm-hmm. So at that particular point, the ref said, "Hey, you got to have 5 lineman jerseys." So at that point, go back to being an Eagle Scout, go back to Marine, adapt and overcome. We're here now. What we do? We don't back up. We don't retreat. So at that point, I said, "Shit, we got to do something." So I looked at the jerseys, and I said, "Give me that number 11. Somebody bring me some duct tape." First I said, let's do a marker.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a marker. We didn't have much time. We was already being pressured.
Yeah.
For by the refs. They wanted to cancel the game. We already got there late. We got the whole town of Chickamauga in the stands, and we got about maybe 7, 8 parents in our stands, maybe, if that. So the pressure was already on. A lot of racial tension was already racial anxiety was already leading up to the game was already building up.
Because y'all playing in an all-white country town.
That's correct.
And y'all are mostly black.
Correct. Well,
okay.
All black.
All black.
Correct.
Okay. So now what do you do with this duct tape?
So what I did was I took the number 11 and turned the number 11 jersey into number 71 with the duct tape. And said, "Mr. Ref, will this work?" So he looked at me. He said, "Man, are you kidding?"
Right.
I said, "Hey, it's 71 to me."
Yeah.
So I took that. He took it over to the opposing side. Asked would they be okay with it. They said yes. All right, let's play. We got 5 lineman jerseys.
Now, did y'all win that game?
Depending on what you look at winning.
What
you call winning?
What was the score? What was the scoreboard?
Shit, I think that score was we scored.
Y'all scored?
Yeah, we scored. I think it was like 56-6 or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Now let me ask you this, because I read this in the book. It almost brings tears to my eyes. Let me back up and set the stage for you guys. You didn't have funding, so now y'all are practicing in the parking lot of the school. Do y'all remember back in the day when you didn't have grass and we didn't have a field and we had to play on the concrete?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That's when that was the toughest of the tough. Even some of us be like, "Man, I ain't going on the goddamn concrete now."
Yeah.
So you're practicing with no budget.
That's right.
Very few uniforms, 13 kids, 2 of them special needs, and you're practicing on concrete for the season.
Right.
What kept you going through that? What was your motivation? Why you didn't just I would have quit?
Right.
What made you keep going?
Let me back up a little bit here. Number one, that jersey became an icon of our season. It's actually, if you open up the book, you'll see one of the pictures in there. So.
Look at the parking lot. I don't know if people can see this, but Beehive, that's where they were practicing at.
My God.
I don't know if you can put that on the camera and so that people can see that.
That's the 71 right there.
And look at them practicing in the parking lot of the school.
My God.
Well, some of my motivations, like I said, I had 2 guys that had to have a senior season in order to be looked at, by scouts. That was one of my main motivations right there. Mm-hmm. And by the way, like I said, we had 13 kids, 2 special needs, and 9 players that never ever played football before. Didn't even know how to put on a helmet, shoulder pads, had no clue about football. So my motivation was, if you got a swinging Johnson, hell, I even asked, you coming out to play. I was going through the hallway and saying, hey, if you got a swinging Johnson, come on and play. And our girls' basketball team was a hell of a squad.
Yeah, the basketball program was thriving.
Yeah, so I even asked some of the girls, hey, you want to play ball?
Yeah.
You know, so, but that coach, Coach Jackson, she was like, no, coach, they're not playing ball. Because some of them like, coach, yeah, I'm going to play.
I ran into a girl, Miss Jackson. She told me that she played for you. I put you on the phone with her. Yeah, she played. She played for the school. Now, this is crazy. Okay, so we're practicing in the parking lot. We got short. We're using duct tape for the uniforms. We have special need kids. How many games did y'all play, and out of that, how many did you actually win, Coach?
We forfeited our first 2 games because of equipment. We have equipment, but that equipment has to be serviced. If it wasn't properly serviced, you don't supposed to put kids in equipment if it don't go through what you call reconditioning. So I saw that wasn't done. So I couldn't put these kids in these helmets, and they haven't been properly checked and have a stamp of approval. Mm-hmm. So I came out of my pocket. A guy named Brother Lee, he helped me out. He was instrumental. He was like like an assistant principal there at the time. Mm-hmm. And we got together and said, hey, we're gonna make this work. So I came out of my pocket, asked the school to front some money. You know, they was like, Coach, we ain't got no budget. So we came up with some budget out of our pockets to go get the equipment conditioned. So that's why we missed our first 2 games, because our equipment was off getting reconditioned.
Then you coming out of your pockets at the same time. Yep. Your country that you don't fight for, ain't you still fighting for your fighting for?
Correct.
Your money.
Exactly.
Okay.
And let me add to that, and I was homeless too.
Damn.
Right.
I was homeless at that time. I was sleeping in my van, sleeping in my storage unit, sleeping on your couch, you know, sleeping at different places, taking showers at the pilot. But these kids gave me motivation and inspiration. You know, that, like I said, foreign or domestic. And some of the domestic is not necessarily meaning that I got to protect somebody, you know, kill somebody to protect somebody. I got to protect these young men, teach them how to become young men. Mm-hmm. You know, damn what I got going on right now, but I needed them just as much as they needed me.
Wow. Yeah. Now I saw you know, in the book that y'all out here at one of the games, like you said, you know, it's y'all got 5 people on your side. It's a whole racist town. It's all, you know, white people, and you know, at first they were looking at you crazy when you came. Yep. Tell us what happened by the end. You know, you lose $3 trillion to nothing or whatever you scored. Right. Tell me, you know, what was the reaction from the white people down there, from this, you know, the town? How did they receive y'all, and when y'all left, you know, how did they feel about you?
First going up, like I said, you know, I'm an old country boy from Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So my parents that is from Atlanta, they knew about Chickamauga, Georgia. I had no clue. I didn't even care about. You know, I can take Marines and lead Marines in the battle. I can take kids to go play some football. Mm-hmm. You know, because my mindset is, oh, we coming out. I ain't worried about nothing. I ain't worried about nobody. Mm-hmm. You know, because I know me. You know, like Neil, what's his name? Leo Neeson said, I don't know you. You don't know me. I ain't got no money. But what I do have is a set of skills.
Yeah, exactly. You know, get us up out there.
Right. So, okay. You know, my buddies, they call me the Black Leo Neeson. Whatever. Even my daughter called me that. Well, one of my daughters. But the main thing was, when I get up there, on the way up there, you know, as soon as we get into town, it was 2 young boys riding on a horse, texting. And my kids looking at it like, Coach, you know, excuse my French, Coach, where the fuck we at? I said, boy, shut your mouth. You know, somebody cussing. So, you know, these are inner city kids.
Right.
So my parents had anxiety. Their coach, we're going up in Chickamauga, Georgia. They grew up here. Yeah. So they said, Coach, that's KKK land. And I said, okay. I've been in countries where the whole country don't like me.
Right.
I don't care about no little town.
Exactly.
kill everybody if I got to. That's my thought process.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
no one's going to, and I think we have to get there. I said, well, we're going to go play some ball. We get up there. On the way up there, one of the tires, the retread come off the tire and almost hit one of my vans, and the other van almost, the coach was driving. We had to get off the road and get that taken care of. So they thought we weren't coming. They thought we was bullshitting them.
Yeah.
So we called him up. I called Dwight Howard Sr., who's our AD at the time, told him what was going on. He got a hold to the school. He gave me the phone number to somebody at the school and said, Coach, just let them know what's going on. Told them what was going on. They really didn't believe it. They just thought we was bullshitting because this would have been our first game.
Yeah.
Right? They said, y'all bullshitting us. And I said, hey, told them what happened. We still on the way. He was like, okay. Hung up the phone in my face. I said, all right. So we get there, like I said, the two young men were riding on the horse Texans. To me, I'm in the country. I'm right at home. I feel right at home now. So here it is. The inner city kids probably never seen a horse in person. So at that particular point, we go. We already late. Game's supposed to start at 7:30. We get up there a little after 7:30, 7:40. So we meet up with the referee, and he told us, hey, you need to hurry up, get on the field. Because if not, we're gonna forfeit the game.
Right.
So I told my guys, get off the van, go in here. We didn't have time to do pregame. You got to do stretching, got to do pregame. We had no time for that. So I said, hey, once you get in there, start stretching on your way out to the field. So once we did that, and we started playing, right? One play, I had one of my kids, he weighed about 90 pounds, linebacker, soaking wet.
Right.
One of the linemen drove him probably about 30, 40 yards downfield, put him in the dirt. He get back up, slapped the lineman on the ass, said, good block. So my kids were playing like they were the Dallas Cowboys, like they were Atlanta Falcons. They were playing like an NFL team. So they had no clue that they were undermanned, undergunned, underskilled, because that's not what I taught them. I said, because it takes a man to stand up in front of another man. It don't matter how big or how strong somebody may look. Like they say, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
Exactly.
So, they had no clue. But me, I said, boy, this shit is crazy. So even myself, matter of fact, Coach DeMarco called me. He said, Coach, that shit is suicide, what you about to do, right? I said, but Coach, I got to give these boys a chance that want to go play football. So he said, Coach, you risking everything for, on these kids. I said, don't worry about it. They train. Right now, they think they're Marines.
Right.
Because I started going back into what I taught, what I learned as Marines. Like, say, once you're a Marine, we're not even allowed to die as a Marine. They teach us you're not allowed to die unless you got permission to die.
Wow.
So I started going back into that and training them. Who trains in a parking lot? Coach, we don't have no grass. Who need grass? We're not fixing to water no grass. We're not fixing to. It don't matter as long as we have any type of space to learn some plays to teach you something. But more importantly, I'm teaching you all how to be young men, because see, through all the adversity, right? This is gonna be life as a young man, especially as a black man. You're not gonna have the best. You're gonna feel like you in the grime, that you on this asphalt, that you're going through all the bullshit. So when you embark on being a husband, it's gonna be tough. When you embark on being a community leader, when you embark on being, a brother, a uncle, or just a good citizen, these adversities are going to happen. What you gonna do? You gonna run? When it comes down to especially being a father, it's gonna be tough. You're gonna be looked at in all type of different ways. So what are you gonna do? So now I'm preparing you for that. It's not just about football, because once the cleats are hung up and once those helmets are hung up, I hope I taught you something of how to be a man. more than something that's greater than football.
So what was the reaction to the 70,000 that was on the other side from all this?
Well, like I said at the beginning of the game, they was looking at us kind of crazy. Like, okay, here comes some inner city kids, to play some football or whatever. And prior to that, I even had some opposing coaches that said, "Coach, be careful when you're going up there." And I was looking at them like, you know what? And these was white coaches, and they were calling me all week, said, "Coach, be careful." I'm like, okay, whatever. And then as we got there, started playing, like I said, our kids were playing like they were the Falcons.
We know that wasn't pretty good.
right. Not the new Falcons, the Super Bowl Falcons.
Right. Okay.
Right. So, but however, they gave it all. Right. So as the opposing team saw these kids were not backing down, were not giving up, they started to sit there in amazement. So halftime come, let me put this one in. So halftime came at this game. We went into halftime. I think it's Southern Christian Athletes, a director, he was some top whiz there. He came to me and said, "Hey, Coach, do you mind if I sit down and do you mind if I come in there and speak to your boys?" He said, "Coach, because this right here is something so amazing. We all learn, to play through adversity. Hey, it's not about the score. It's 0-0. Go through it. But on your sideline, you still got 80 players that's backing you up, and you got the same skill set, and his kids about the same size." Talking that, we was all the way undermanned. He walked in there. It was like a battlefield. My kids were bleeding from the head. They were bleeding from arms and different things like that. Right. He walked in, he said, "Coach," he said, "Oh my God." It's a white guy. And he looked around, he said, "You kidding me?" And so when I walk in, just like in the Marine Corps, "Hey, straighten up, attention on deck." So they get up, they get straightened up, "Yes, Coach." So he walked around and said, "This gentleman want to speak to you all." He shook every one of them young men and shook their hands, looked them in the eye, and told them that, "Hey, this is a hell of a job. I don't think I could do this." And the support that he gave them, he turned around to me, he said, "Coach, what are you teaching them?" So I'm teaching them how to be a man. I said, "What you see out there, you see how our kids getting beat up?" I said, "To be honest with you, that's how I feel as a black man. To be honest with you." I said, "But what? We got to keep going. We got to keep playing the game because we got a life to win." So he started crying. I started crying. The kids looking like, what's going on. So he leave, and we come back out halftime. After halftime, we come back out there. You couldn't even tell our guys were banged up, bleeding. They had ice pack on their heads, ice pack on their shoulders. Shit was ugly. It was real ugly. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, we ain't got nothing but 13 now. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, Regine was a cheerleader. Lil Wayne's daughter, she was a cheerleader. She was up there with us. But once we get back out there on the field, our kids kept on playing hard. They were playing hard as hell. Kept playing, and not giving up. He done put his second team in, put the third team in, put the JV team in. And he probably had a set of water boys that they put in at some point. I don't know. Yeah. But we ended up scoring. And let me tell you something. When we scored right before the game was over with, do you know the whole stand went up in an uproar cheering for us.
The white folks.
The opposing team.
Wow.
Their band started playing for us. Playing the nice fight songs and this and that and whatever because we scored.
Wow.
And at the end, because they're a public school, we're Christian school, we was like, "Hey, Coach," I was like, "Hey, Coach, good game, can we get a prayer?" He's like, "Coach, it's kind of, we're public school." So, okay, I told my kids, so we won't disrespect the middle of their field, so let's go to the side, let's get a prayer. So one of their, I think he may have been a pastor, he went and got the kids and said, "Come on, we're going to pray." So we all got in there and we got around and we prayed together. So right before I was about to leave the field, it was parents flooding the field, men and women hugging our kids. Now, our parents had anxiety, like I said,
For going up
there.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know, Coach, we from here. We know what goes on up there. Like, okay. So at that point, I even had one of the young ladies there. She said, Coach, my son been playing football for a long time. She said, you changed me. I had no clue what she was talking about. She said, just know, Coach, you changed me. And out of all the games my son done played, I'm proud to say that he played in this game right here. So that meant something to me. And I had a different feeling that this was bigger than just football. It's bigger than life. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than everything that I possibly ever dreamed of. And I'm saying to myself, I'm thinking like, damn, shit, I got to figure out how to, when I'm getting back, I got to find some place to sleep tonight. Damn. That's what I was saying to myself. And then she was like, Coach, I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. So the coach came to me and brought two of his kids. He said, Coach, two of my boys, want to speak with you. And they said, Coach, do you mind if you come to our fifth quarter? So I'm thinking like, fifth quarter, hell, y'all already whooped our ass for 4. Shit, y'all want to whoop us again for 5? so at that particular point, I was like, okay. I said, what is it? They said, it's a big party we do at the church, local church over here. I said, okay, fine. We went in there. Mind you now, it's about 10 some, almost 11 at night. Parents said, Coach, this KKK land. Coach, it's late. Some places you can't just be caught out the dark. It's already dark. And now they talking about going to this party. Coach, are you sure? I said, let me tell you something. I'm not worried about it. We're going to break bread, with them, and we're going to have a good time. So I went over there. I gave him a briefing. If somebody call you a nigger or somebody call you out of your name, call you whatever they call you, you don't get involved with that. You come and get me and let me take care of it. And that goes for you too, parents. So let me take care of it. I said, because these kids are my responsibility right now. Yeah. So I have the mindset to handle everything. Plus, I have the responsibility to get them back home safe, just as if my Marines, we were going into battle. So at this particular point, we parked the van, so we're about to cross the street. They came running in the street. Some of their fans came running in the street, stopped the traffic both ways, and so we would actually be able to cross the street. And at that particular point, the whole town was there giving our kids a standing ovation again.
Wow. Let me see that book one more time. It's hard for me not to bring down on that. I got old. I
was a little choked up over here too.
Yeah, but this is the magazine right here. Where can people go to see this or see you, or because this needs to be a movie?
Yeah, when is the movie coming out? That's what I was going to ask.
This has to be a movie, and right here, I don't know if they can see that. Can they see that right there, cameraman? It says, "Don't call us losers." Even though we lost every game, even though we lost every single game, 0-10. Yep. But we still
That's the name of the movie right there.
Yeah. We 0-10, but we still had a winning season. Yep. Look at these are the few kids right here. Isn't that something, Beehive?
Man, that's crazy as hell, man.
So we gotta get a movie up in here. This is unbelievable, big guy. I got to bring you back, man, to talk about more stuff. I want to get this out there. Yeah. But Beehive, does anything else you want to ask the big guy?
Well, no, you just got to come back because I want to get into the Marine stuff. I had a whole bunch of questions that I really wanted to ask, but I'm gonna save that one.
All right, let's do it.
Right. Big guy, give us where people can find you at, follow the movie producer, and me and Beehive want our cut in the movie.
Right. Okay.
At least let us be in it.
Let him be right. Yeah, he can be the water boy you were talking about. I want to be assistant coach.
Okay.
Matter of fact,
assistant coach.
I remember as that hating referee.
No, I'm Coach Chism in the movie. I'm Coach Chism in the movie.
The one that was trying to get you to quit. That's what we gonna make him. But man, if you tell people where they can meet you, where they can get you on social media. We definitely gonna have the Marine back, the coach back to talk about more stuff. Shout out to your daughter. You said it's at UGA right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anybody you want to give a shout out and where they can reach at, big guy?
Okay, like I said, I give a shout out to all my veterans out there. The ones that still the the military men and women that are still in serving, hey, like I said, big ups, some major support, you know, to them. Like I say, it's a lot of stuff that you all have no clue that's going on that you don't see on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of shit, you know. So I give up to, you know, my sisters and brothers in arms all over each branch. And of course, like I said, give up to my, you know, Marine Corps brothers and sisters, you know, Semper Fi, do or die. You know, you can reach me at Chili_Chiz, CHIZZ, on Instagram. I'm not a real big social media person. You know, my kids, so I got to do better. You know, like I say, you know, I'm dealing with PTSD.
Come on,
a lot
now.
of that stuff is trackable.
Triggering.
Yep, and we can be tracked on all these things. So that kind of stuff right there, we don't want to be tracked. We stay off the grid, you know. So, like I said, I'd be glad to come back. We talk about Marines in the Marine Corps, you know, all day long. Like I said, we'll get into, you know, stuff with my daughter being a single dad and homeless. Now, one of the things I'm going to add with that is she was homeless with me.
Wow.
She said, Daddy, I'll never leave you. So that's where a lot of my strength comes from.
That's right.
Come on,
you know, and sleeping on couches with me.
Yeah.
She never leave me. And like I said, now she's graduated from UGA with a degree. She has 2 degrees, 3 diplomas, 4 certifications, only 22 years old, and don't owe no college any money, no student loans.
Yeah.
And she headed to be a doctor.